It's 10 years since 19 terrorists hijacked 4 planes in the skies over the USA. American Airlines Flight 11 was flown into the North Tower of New York's World Trade Center at 9:03 a.m. United Airlines Flight 175 was also taken over and was destined for the South Tower. Air traffic controllers working that day pick up the story.
In the middle of that, we also got United 175, which was another aircraft departing from Boston, a Boeing 767, who reported to us that they had heard something suspicious on the frequency over in Boston Center. It sounded like an aircraft in trouble, possible hijack.
We had already watched American 11 fly into one of the towers. We lost a primary target. At the same time, the TRACON was telling us they have an ELT in that area. So we knew that we lost an airplane at that point.
But as the second aircraft was also hijacked and the first aircraft hit the World Trade Center, I immediately made the connection that this was not a single event. This was an attack upon our country.
Our occupation, air traffic, was under attack by enemies of the country. And at the same time, everybody, while dealing with that, was dealing with the fact that most people had a friend, a neighbor, a family member, somebody they worked with very closely that actually worked in both of those buildings. So the challenge there was dealing with those kind of emotions while at the same time dealing with a crisis that was unfolding and changing by the minute.
At 9:37, American Airlines Flight 77 hit the Pentagon, followed by a 4th plane which crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers tried to regain control of the aircraft. In all, almost 3,000 people died. New audio has now been published which demonstrates how the attack unfolded. Published by the New York Times and transcribed by the Rutgers Law Review, we can hear from Betty Ong, an air stewardess on American Airlines Flight 11 after it had been taken over.
Our number one got stabbed. Our purser is stabbed. Nobody knows who stabbed who, and we can't even get up to business class right now because nobody can breathe. Our number one is stabbed right now.
Okay.
And our number 5, our first class passengers, our first class galley flight attendant and our purser has been stabbed. And we can't get to the cockpit. The door won't open.
10 years later is interesting. It takes time to process, this type of situation. We've got a small little group that still stays in contact. The fog of war was very evident that day. 10 years later, sometimes it feels like yesterday.
When I look back upon that tragic day, the thing that hits me the deepest is my pride in how all of our air traffic folks in the New York area came together and rose to the occasion and did the right thing and did it so well that it amazed the rest of the world.